Harry Potter and the 3DGR. Prologue. The discovery of the 3DGR. In the quiet depths of their shared laboratory, Dillon E.T., Arren Sawyer, and Seraphina delved into the mysteries of magical mathematics. Bound by a common curiosity and a thirst for knowledge, the trio embarked on a journey fueled by intellect and intuition. It was Dillon E.T., the Muggle discoverer of the 3DGR, who first conceived the notion of applying the golden ratio to a shape with equal edges but unequal line lengths. With his expertise in both Muggle technology and magical theory, Dillon E.T. brought a unique perspective to their research. Seraphina, once Arren Sawyer's clairvoyant familiar, lent her alchemical insights to the endeavor. Drawing upon her deep connection to the magical realm, she served as the guiding intelligence behind the computations that unveiled the dimensions of the enigmatic shape they sought. And Arren Sawyer, the paragon of leadership, wielded his wand with precision and purpose, weaving spells of creation to manifest the shape into existence. With each flick of his elm wand, infused with the essence of dragon string, Arren Sawyer breathed life into their mathematical musings, transforming theory into tangible reality. As the shape materialized before them, shimmering with arcane energy, Dillon E.T. was struck by a revelation. He saw beyond the physical form of the shape, envisioning its potential to revolutionize magical practices. With a spark of inspiration, he proposed a daring experiment, the creation of synchronic wands bound to the vertices of the shape, tapping into its inherent power and symmetry. With their sights set on the horizon, the trio embraced the challenge that lay ahead. Their quest to forge a second wand for Arren Sawyer, rooted in the principles of the 3DGR, would lead them down a path of discovery and adventure beyond their wildest dreams. And so, with determination in their hearts and magic at their fingertips, Dillon E.T., Arren Sawyer, and Seraphina embarked on a journey that would forever alter the course of magical history. Chapter 1: The Rebirth of Magic. The summer of 1998 was a time of both joy and sorrow in the wizarding world. The echoes of the Second Wizarding War still reverberated through the corridors of Hogwarts' School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, where the scars of battle marred the ancient stone walls. But amidst the devastation, there was hope. Hope for rebuilding, for healing, and for forging a new future from the ashes of the past. Harry Potter stood at the threshold of his childhood home, gazing out at the familiar sight of Privet Drive. The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows across the neatly trimmed lawns and tidy suburban streets. It was a scene of suburban normalcy, a stark contrast to the turmoil that had engulfed the wizarding world just months before. As he watched the world go by, Harry couldn't help but feel a sense of restlessness stirring within him. The war was over, Voldemort defeated, but the scars of battle still lingered, both on his body and in his mind. He had faced death and darkness, stood on the brink of despair, and emerged victorious, but at what cost? Turning away from the window, Harry ascended the stairs to his room, where the memories of his past adventures lay scattered amidst the clutter of books, quills, and magical artifacts. Here, in the quiet solitude of his sanctuary, he could reflect on the events that had shaped him, the friends who had stood by his side, and the sacrifices that had been made in the name of love and loyalty. Sitting down at his desk, Harry took out a piece of parchment and began to write, the words flowing from his quill with a sense of urgency born of the knowledge that the world was changing, and he with it. Dear Hermione, Ron, I hope this letter finds you both well. It feels strange to be back at Privet Drive, surrounded by Muggle mundanity after everything that has happened. Sometimes, it's hard to believe that it's all over, that Voldemort is gone for good. But I suppose that's the nature of endings, they give way to new beginnings. I miss Hogwarts, our home away from home, and I miss you both more than words can say. It's strange to think that we won't be returning for another year of classes, another year of adventures. But perhaps it's time for a new chapter in our lives, a chance to explore the world beyond the castle walls. I don't know what the future holds, but I do know that we'll face it together, as we always have. So, here's to new beginnings, to old friends, and to the magic that binds us all. Until we meet again, Harry. With a sense of finality, Harry folded the letter and sealed it with wax, the scar on his forehead tingling faintly as if in acknowledgement of the words he had written. Then, rising from his desk, he made his way downstairs, ready to apparate toward whatever adventures awaited him in the world beyond. Chapter 2, The Memorial of Remembrance. The morning sun rose over Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, casting a warm glow over the grounds where the students and teachers alike gathered in solemn anticipation. It was a day of remembrance, a day to honor the brave souls who had given their lives in the fight against Voldemort and his dark forces. Harry Potter awoke with a sense of anticipation tingling in his scar, a feeling he had come to associate with moments of great significance. Rubbing his eyes sleepily, he rose from his bed and made his way to the window, where he gazed out at the scene unfolding below. In the center of the courtyard stood a scaffolding draped in black cloth, surrounded by a crowd of witches and wizards paying their respects to the fallen. And towering above it all, bathed in the morning light, was the figure of Albus Dumbledore, immortalized in stone. As Harry watched, a sense of awe washed over him. Dumbledore, the greatest wizard of his time, had been a mentor, a friend, and a guiding light in the darkness. And now, his likeness stood as a beacon of hope, a reminder of the sacrifices made in the name of freedom and justice. But it was not just Dumbledore who was being honored this day. Surrounding the statue were smaller pedestals, each bearing the names of those who had fought and died alongside him. Remus Lupin, Sirius Black, Fred Weasley, and countless others whose bravery would never be forgotten. As Harry descended the stairs to join the crowd below, he felt a sense of pride swell within him. These were his friends, his comrades in arms, and their legacy lived on in the hearts of those who had survived. But amidst the pride, there was also a profound sense of loss, a reminder of the price that had been paid for victory. Reaching the courtyard, Harry found himself drawn to the base of the statue, where a wreath of lilies lay in honor of those who had fallen. He placed his hand upon the cold stone, feeling the rough texture beneath his fingers, and whispered a silent prayer for peace. And as he stood there, surrounded by the echoes of the past and the promise of the future, Harry knew that this moment would stay with him forever. For in the shadow of Dumbledore's statue, amidst the names of the fallen, he found strength, courage, and the resolve to carry on the fight, no matter the cost. Chapter 3, A Reunion at the Leaky Cauldron. The cobblestones of Diagon Alley gleamed in the morning sunlight, bustling with witches and wizards eager to begin their day. The familiar sights and sounds filled Harry Potter with a sense of nostalgia as he made his way toward the Leaky Cauldron. His firebolt slung over his shoulder, the invisibility cloak and his trusty holly wand tucked safely in his enchanted moleskin pouch, he felt a twinge of excitement. Today, he would reunite with Ron and Hermione, his dearest friends and partners in countless adventures. The old pub was much as Harry remembered it, with its low ceiling and worn wooden beams exuding a comforting timeless atmosphere. As he pushed open the door, the scent of butterbeer and roasted meat wafted through the air, mingling with the faint tang of potion ingredients from the nearby shops. Spotting Ron's bright red hair at a corner table, Harry's face broke into a wide grin. Ron Weasley was hunched over a plate of bacon and eggs, his deluminator resting beside him, and across from him sat Hermione Granger, her beaded bag resting on the table next to a steaming cup of tea. Both looked up as Harry approached, their faces lighting up with delight. "Harry!" Hermione exclaimed, rising to embrace him. "It's so good to see you. About time you showed up," Ron teased, a broad smile spreading across his face. "We were beginning to think you'd decided to stay at Privet Drive forever." Harry laughed, taking a seat and setting his belongings down. "I missed you both too much to stay away any longer." The three friends exchanged stories of their summer, the conversation flowing as easily as it always had. They spoke of the past battles, the memories of those lost, and the hopes for the future. There was a sense of camaraderie that was unshakable, forged through years of shared hardship and triumph. Hermione glanced around the bustling pub before leaning in closer, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "We received an owl from Kingsley this morning." Harry's interest was immediately piqued. "What did he say?" Ron pulled a folded piece of parchment from his pocket, smoothing it out on the table. "He's got a mission for us, something important and top secret. We're to go to the rainforest in Washington State, America." Harry's eyes widened in surprise. "America? What could be so important over there?" "Kingsley didn't say much in the letter," Hermione replied, her brow furrowing. "But it was clear that this mission is of the utmost importance and must be kept completely confidential." "We're to leave as soon as possible," Ron added, excitement and curiosity twinkling in his eyes. "First, we need to gather supplies from Diagon Alley." Harry nodded, feeling the familiar thrill of a new adventure coursing through him. "Then we'd better get started. We'll need potions, some new robes, and perhaps some enchanted items to help us navigate the rainforest." Hermione nodded, ticking off items on an imaginary list. "We should also get some updated spellbooks and perhaps visit the apothecary for some special ingredients. We don't know what we might encounter over there." As they finished their breakfast and settled their tab with Tom, the friends stood and made their way to the back of the pub. The anticipation of the journey ahead lent a spring to their steps. Reaching the hidden courtyard, Hermione retrieved her wand from her beaded bag. "All right, then. Who wants to do the honors?" Harry and Ron exchanged a glance, then grinned at Hermione. "You go ahead," Ron said, motioning for her to step forward. With a practiced flick of her wand, Hermione tapped the familiar sequence of bricks. The wall began to shift and transform, each brick moving aside to reveal the bustling thoroughfare of Diagon Alley. As the last brick slid into place, Harry, Ron, and Hermione stepped forward, ready to begin their preparations for the unknown mission that awaited them. The familiar sights of the alley filled them with a sense of purpose and excitement. Together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead, just as they always had. With determination in their hearts and magic at their fingertips, the trio entered Diagon Alley, the whispers of their past adventures mingling with the promise of new discoveries and the unknown mysteries of the American rainforest. Chapter 4, Familiars of Diagon Alley. Diagon Alley thrummed with the vibrant hum of witches and wizards going about their daily business. Harry, Ron, and Hermione navigated through the bustling crowds, their eyes scanning the familiar shops that lined the cobbled street. Their first stop was A shop that had always captured their imaginations, the Magical Menagerie. The Magical Menagerie, a small, rickety shop crammed with cages, tanks, and magical creatures of all kinds, beckoned them with its colorful storefront and cacophony of sounds. Harry pushed open the door, and they were immediately enveloped in the warm, musty smell of hay and fur, mixed with the more exotic sense of magical creatures. Hermione's eyes sparkled with excitement as they stepped inside. "I've always wanted to get a proper familiar," she said, her voice filled with anticipation. "Me too," Harry agreed, looking around at the array of creatures. "Let's see what they have." The shop was a whirlwind of activity. Cages lined the walls, filled with an assortment of magical creatures. There were screech owls, fluttering golden snidgets, and sleek measles. Hermione's gaze was immediately drawn to a cage containing a regal-looking cat with sleek fur and intelligent, amber eyes. "Oh, Harry, Ron, look at this one!" Hermione exclaimed, moving closer to the cage. "Isn't she beautiful?" The cat, a half-Kneazle with tufted ears and a plume-like tail, regarded Hermione with a penetrating stare. There was an instant connection, a mutual recognition that this was meant to be. "I think she likes you, Hermione," Harry said with a smile. "What will you name her?" Hermione reached into the cage, gently stroking the cat's fur. "I think I'll call her Cleo," she said softly. "Short for Cleopatra." Ron, meanwhile, was exploring the shop with wide-eyed curiosity. He paused at a tank filled with small, glowing creatures that buzzed around like tiny fireworks. The label read, "Fairy Lights," and they cast a shimmering glow over his freckled face. "This place is brilliant," Ron said, turning to Harry. "I don't know what I want yet, but there's so much to choose from." Harry nodded, his attention drawn to the owls perched on a high shelf. There were tawny owls, barn owls, and a majestic snowy owl, but his gaze settled on a sleek, black owl with striking silver eyes. The owl looked directly at Harry, and he felt a sense of kinship, much like he had with Hedwig. "Hello there," Harry murmured, reaching out a tentative hand. The owl hooted softly and hopped onto his arm with an elegant grace. "I think I'll call you Orion." "Orion?" Ron asked, coming over to admire the bird. "Nice name. It suits him." As Hermione finalized the purchase of Cleo, Ron continued to explore the shop. He eventually stopped in front of a large, ornate cage that housed a peculiar creature. It was a small, dog-like animal with bright, intelligent eyes and a tufted tail. The label read, "Krupp, requires ministry approval." "Look at this, Harry," Ron said, his voice filled with wonder. "A Krupp. They're loyal and fiercely protective. Maybe this is the familiar for me." Harry and Hermione joined him, peering into the cage. The Krupp wagged its tail and gave a cheerful bark, clearly excited by the attention. "I think he likes you, Ron," Hermione said with a smile. "Why don't you ask the shopkeeper about getting approval?" Ron nodded, determined. "I will. This little guy is perfect." After arranging for the necessary paperwork for the Krupp, the trio made their way to the counter. The shopkeeper, a kindly witch with a warm smile, rang up their purchases and gave them each a small bag of treats for their new familiars. "Take good care of them," she said, handing over the bags. "Familiars are loyal companions, and they'll be with you through thick and thin." As they left the magical menagerie, their new companions in tow, the trio felt a renewed sense of excitement and anticipation. Their journey to the American rainforest awaited, but with Cleo, Orion, and the soon-to-be-approved Krupp by their sides, they felt ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. Standing in the bustling street, Harry, Ron, and Hermione shared a look of determination. With their familiars, their bond of friendship, and their unshakable resolve, they knew they could face any adventure that awaited them. "Ready to get the rest of our supplies?" Harry asked, looking between his friends. "Absolutely," Ron replied, scratching the crup behind the ears. "Let's go," Hermione agreed, her eyes shining with excitement. And with that, they made their way toward the brick archway leading to Diagon Alley. Hermione stepped forward, her wand at the ready, and with a flick, she began tapping the bricks in the familiar sequence. As the wall shifted and transformed, revealing the bustling alley beyond, the trio took a deep breath, ready to embrace the adventure that awaited them. With their familiars by their sides and determination in their hearts, Harry, Ron, and Hermione stepped through the archway, the whispers of their past adventures mingling with the promise of new discoveries and the unknown mysteries of the American rainforest. Chapter 5: The Quest for Knowledge. Diagon Alley bustled with activity as Harry, Ron, and Hermione made their way to Flourish and Blots, the famous bookstore that held the key to countless magical secrets. The trio's minds buzzed with anticipation as they stepped through the door, the familiar scent of parchment and ink enveloping them like an old friend. Inside, the shelves towered overhead, packed with books of every size, shape, and color imaginable. Harry's eyes scanned the titles, his heart quickening with excitement at the thought of uncovering hidden knowledge that could aid them in their upcoming journey. "We need to find information on magical creatures and artifacts that are likely to be found in an American rainforest," Hermione said, her voice tinged with determination as she consulted a list she had compiled. "I'll start with the creature section." Ron nodded in agreement, his eyes alight with curiosity as he followed Hermione to the magical creatures aisle. Harry lingered behind, his gaze drawn to a display of ancient tomes that promised untold wonders and mysteries. As Hermione delved into the shelves, pulling out book after book on magical creatures native to rainforests, Ron's attention was caught by a particularly dusty volume wedged between two larger tomes. He reached out and pulled it free, revealing a faded cover adorned with intricate runes and symbols. "Look at this, Harry," Ron exclaimed, his eyes wide with excitement as he flipped through the pages. "It's a guide to ancient magical artifacts found in rainforests. This could be exactly what we need." Harry joined him, peering over his shoulder at the illustrations and descriptions contained within the book. Each page held a wealth of information about ancient relics imbued with powerful magic, from enchanted amulets to legendary weapons. "This is incredible," Harry said, his mind racing with possibilities. "If we can locate even one of these artifacts, it could give us a significant advantage in our mission." Meanwhile, Hermione had selected several books on magical creatures, including one titled, "Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Rainforest Edition." She joined Harry and Ron, her arms laden with books. "I think we've found everything we need," she said, her eyes shining with excitement. "Now, we just need to find a quiet corner to study." They made their way to a cozy alcove tucked away in the back of the store, where Hermione spread out their books on a small table. Harry conjured a flickering candle to provide them with better light, and they settled in to pore over the information they had gathered. For hours, they lost themselves in the pages of magical lore, studying the habits and habitats of creatures they had never encountered before and learning the secrets of ancient artifacts that had been lost to time. As the afternoon sun began to sink lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the bookstore, Harry looked up from his reading, a sense of excitement building within him. "I think we're ready," he said, his voice filled with determination. "With this knowledge, and our familiars by our side, we can face whatever challenges await us in the American rainforest." Ron and Hermione nodded in agreement, their faces reflecting the same steely resolve. Together, armed with knowledge and friendship, they were prepared to embark on their next great adventure. Gathering their books and belongings, the trio made their way to the counter to purchase their selections. As they stepped out into the fading light of evening, a sense of anticipation filled the air. With the secrets of the magical world at their fingertips, Harry, Ron, and Hermione were ready to face the unknown. Their journey awaited, and with each step, they moved closer to uncovering the truth behind the mysteries of the American rainforest. With determination in their hearts and magic in their veins, they set off into the gathering dusk, their minds buzzing with the promise of discovery and adventure that lay ahead. Chapter 6: The Runic Portal. The sun hung low in the sky as Harry, Ron, and Hermione stepped out of the bustling streets of Diagon Alley and into the secluded alleyway where they would disembark towards the next destination. The air was thick with anticipation, a tangible energy that crackled in the air as they prepared to embark on their latest adventure. With a flick of his wand, Harry summoned his firebolt from where it had been safely stowed away, along with his invisibility cloak and holly wand. Ron produced his deluminator and Hermione her trusty beaded bag, each item glowing softly in the fading light. "We need to be quick," Hermione said, her voice urgent as she consulted the map of magical runic sites they had acquired. "The site in Washington state won't remain hidden for long." Harry nodded, his heart pounding with excitement as he mounted his broom and beckoned for his friends to join him. With a shared sense of purpose, they kicked off into the sky, soaring high above the rooftops of London and into the vast expanse of the night. The journey was swift but exhilarating, the wind whipping through their hair as they streaked across the starlit sky. Below them, the lights of the city dwindled to a distant glow, replaced by the tranquil darkness of the countryside. As they neared their destination, Harry spotted a faint shimmering in the air ahead, like a veil of mist hanging over the forest below. With a sense of determination, he angled his broom downwards, leading the way towards the hidden site. As they descended through the dense canopy of trees, the air grew thick with magic, pulsing with an ancient energy that seemed to permeate the very earth itself. Harry could feel the power of the runic site calling out to him, drawing him closer with each passing moment. At last, they touched down in a small clearing surrounded by towering trees, their branches stretching towards the sky like ancient sentinels guarding a sacred secret. In the center of the clearing stood a stone archway, adorned with intricate runes and symbols that glowed softly in the moonlight. "This is it," Hermione said, her voice barely above a whisper as she gazed upon the portal with awe. "The entrance to the magical runic site." Ron nodded, his eyes wide with wonder as he approached the archway, his deluminator glowing faintly in his hand. With a steady hand, he traced his fingers along the runes, feeling the power thrumming beneath his touch. Harry stepped forward, his heart pounding with excitement as he reached out to grasp the archway's cold stone surface. With a surge of magic, he activated the runes, and the air around them shimmered and shifted, forming a swirling vortex of energy that beckoned them forward. Without hesitation, Harry, Ron, and Hermione stepped through the portal, their bodies tingling with the sensation of magic coursing through their veins. As they emerged on the other side, they found themselves standing in a vast chamber, its walls adorned with ancient carvings and symbols that glowed softly in the dim light. "This is incredible," Ron breathed, his eyes wide with wonder as he took in the sight before him. "I've never seen anything like it." Hermione nodded in agreement, her expression filled with awe as she surveyed their surroundings. "It's like stepping back in time," she said, her voice hushed with reverence. But there was no time to linger, for they had come here with a purpose, to uncover the secrets hidden within the ancient runes that adorned the chamber walls. With determination in their hearts and magic in their veins, Harry, Ron, and Hermione set out to unravel the mysteries of the magical runic site, knowing that their quest would lead them to discoveries beyond their wildest dreams. And as they delved deeper into the heart of the chamber, surrounded by the echoes of the past and the promise of the future, they knew that their journey was only just beginning. For in the depths of the rainforest, amidst the ancient magic that pulsed through the earth, they would find the answers they sought, and so much more. With each step, they moved closer to unlocking the truth behind the mysteries of the American rainforest, their spirits buoyed by the knowledge that they were bound together by friendship, courage, and the unbreakable bonds of magic. And as they ventured forth into the unknown, they knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, as they always had, and always would. Chapter 7, The Confrontation. The air crackled with tension as Harry, Ron, and Hermione emerged from the depths of the magical runic site, their senses on high alert as they surveyed their surroundings. The chamber was bathed in a soft, ethereal light, casting long shadows across the ancient carvings that adorned the walls. But their moment of awe was short-lived, for as they turned to leave, they found themselves face to face with three figures emerging from the shadows: Arren Sawyer, Seraphina, and Dillon E.T. Arren Sawyer, the paragon of leadership, stood at the forefront, his synchronic wands at the ready, their 3DGR hilts glinting in the dim light. His gaze was steely, his jaw set in determination as he surveyed the intruders who had dared to trespass in his territory. Beside him stood Seraphina, her eyes ablaze with intelligence and power, her hands poised as if ready to weave spells at a moment's notice. Despite the absence of visible weapons, there was an aura of danger about her, a sense that she held secrets beyond imagining. And then there was Dillon E.T., clad in a suit of magical armor that seemed to shimmer and shift with every movement. His swords, adorned with the 3DGR hilts, hung at his side, their blades glinting with deadly intent. For a moment, no one spoke, the silence thick with unspoken tension as the two groups regarded each other warily. Then, Arren Sawyer stepped forward, his voice cutting through the stillness like a blade. "What business do you have here?" he demanded, his eyes narrowing as he fixed his gaze on Harry. Harry squared his shoulders, meeting Arren Sawyer's gaze with a steady stare of his own. "We seek knowledge," he replied evenly. "Knowledge that may hold the key to defeating a great evil." Arren Sawyer's expression softened slightly at Harry's words, a flicker of understanding passing across his features. But before he could respond, Seraphina stepped forward, her voice calm yet tinged with warning. "The secrets of this place are not easily obtained," she said, her eyes flicking from Harry to his companions. "And they come with a price." Hermione frowned, her brow furrowing in confusion. "What do you mean?" she asked, her voice tinged with curiosity. But before Seraphina could reply, Dillon E.T. spoke, his voice echoing through the chamber with a sense of authority that brooked no argument. "The magic of this place is ancient and powerful," he said, his eyes burning with intensity. "It is not to be trifled with lightly." As the tension in the chamber mounted, Harry braced himself for what was to come, knowing that the true test of their mettle was yet to come. For in the heart of magic, amidst the echoes of the past and the promise of the future, anything was possible, and nothing was certain. With a sense of foreboding hanging heavy in the air, Harry, Ron, and Hermione prepared themselves for the challenges that lay ahead, knowing that their journey was far from over, and that the fate of the wizarding world hung in the balance. Chapter 8. The Battle Unleashed. As the trio from Hogwarts braced themselves for battle, the ancient stone guardians of the magical runic site stirred from their slumber, their massive forms looming ominously in the rainforest shadows. 8 feet tall and weighing a ton each, the humanoid dinosaur statues radiated an aura of ancient power, their eyes gleaming with a primal hunger for destruction. Arren Sawyer, the paragon of war, stepped forward, his synchronic wands crackling with untold potential. "You have awakened the Guardians," he said, his voice echoing with authority. "Now, you must face the consequences." With a roar that shook the very earth beneath their feet, the stone guardians charged forward, their massive limbs pounding the forest floor with thunderous force. Dillon E.T, wielding his blade forge with deadly precision, dashed to the forefront of the battle, his armor gleaming in the dappled sunlight as he met the guardians head-on. Meanwhile, Seraphina, her hands deftly weaving through the air, unleashed a volley of frost potions that exploded upon impact, encasing the stone guardians in a shimmering layer of ice. The Hogwarts trio, confuddled but determined, cast spells with practiced precision, their wands alight with the sparks of magic as they fought to hold back the advancing tide. Harry summoned bolts of lightning to strike at the Guardians' stony forms, while Ron conjured barriers of icy wards off their relentless assault. Hermione, her mind racing with spells and incantations, unleashed devastating charms, her determination unwavering in the face of adversity. As the battle raged on, Arren Sawyer vanished into the canopy above, his keen eyes surveying the chaos below as he sought out a strategic advantage. With each flick of his wands, he unleashed a barrage of unknown spells, their effects shrouded in mystery as he worked to turn the tide of battle in their favor. But despite their combined efforts, the Stone Guardians proved to be formidable adversaries, their ancient magic and unyielding strength testing the limits of the trio's resolve. As the forest echoed with the clash of steel and the roar of spells, Harry, Ron, and Hermione knew that they must dig deep within themselves if they were to emerge victorious. With a defiant cry, they pressed forward, their hearts aflame with the spirit of bravery and determination that had carried them through countless trials before. And as they fought side by side, their bonds of friendship and camaraderie strengthened, their unity becoming their greatest weapon against the forces of darkness that threatened to engulf them. But as the battle reached its climax, with the fate of the magical runic site hanging in the balance, the true test of their courage had only just begun. With the Stone Guardians closing in and Arren Sawyer poised to unleash his most powerful spells, the trio knew that they must steel themselves for the final showdown, a throwdown that would determine the fate of not only their own lives, but the future of the wizarding world itself. The rainforest echoed with the thunderous roar of battle as we faced off against the ancient stone guardians of the magical runic site. My heart pounded in my chest as I gripped my wand tightly, ready to stand beside my friends against this formidable foe. Arren Sawyer, the paragon of war, stood at the forefront of the conflict, his synchronic wands crackling with untold power. With a command that seemed to shake the very earth beneath us, he unleashed a spell of mass paralysis, freezing the advancing stone guardians in their tracks. As the guardians faltered, Dillon E.T rallied us to action, his synchronic swords gleaming in the dim light. Quickly, we must make our escape while the Guardians are incapacitated," he urged, his voice urgent yet determined. Seraphina, her presence calming amidst the chaos, suggested we reinforce the paralysis with our own immobilization spells. With a shared nod of agreement, we focused our magic, weaving our spells together to ensure the Guardians remained frozen in place. With each incantation, tendrils of magical energy wrapped around the stone guardians, reinforcing Arren Sawyer's spell and securing our path to safety. As the forest echoed with the sounds of battle and the crackle of magic, we made our escape from the magical runic site. With every step, we left behind the echoes of our battle, our hearts filled with relief and determination to face whatever lay ahead. For in the face of adversity, our bonds of friendship and courage would always light the way forward, guiding us towards a brighter future filled with hope and possibility. Chapter 10 Unraveling Mysteries. As the dust settled and the echoes of battle faded into the stillness of the rainforest, Hermione's curiosity burned brighter than ever. She couldn't shake the fascination she felt towards the synchronic wands wielded by Arren Sawyer, the paragon of leadership. Approaching Arren with a mix of determination and reverence, Hermione spoke up, her voice laced with curiosity. "Arren, those synchronic wands of yours are truly remarkable. I've never seen magic quite like it. Could you tell us more about them?" Arren regarded Hermione with a knowing smile, his eyes reflecting the wisdom of ages. "The synchronic wands are a product of ancient magic," he began, his voice carrying the weight of history. "Forged in the fires of creation, they harness the power of synchronicity to channel magic in its purest form." Hermione's eyes sparkled with excitement as she listened intently, her mind racing with questions. "And how do they work?" she asked eagerly. Arren gestured towards the intricate carvings on the wands' hilts, each symbol pulsating with arcane energy. "The runes inscribed upon the wands are attuned to the rhythms of the universe," he explained. "By aligning our magic with these rhythms, we can unlock their true potential." Hermione nodded, her mind buzzing with newfound knowledge. "Fascinating," she murmured, her thoughts already racing ahead to the possibilities that lay before them. But before she could delve deeper into the mysteries of the synchronic wands, Kingsley Shackleble's voice echoed in her mind, a reminder of their mission and the task that lay ahead. With a determined nod, Hermione turned to her companions, her gaze alight with determination. "We have much to learn and explore," she said, her voice filled with purpose. "But first, let us gather our strength and prepare for the journey ahead." As the group set about making preparations for their next adventure, Hermione's mind buzzed with anticipation. The quest to uncover the truth behind the disturbance in the magical portals had only just begun, and she was eager to unravel its mysteries, one enchantment at a time. With Arren Sawyer, Dillon E.T, and Seraphina by their side, Harry, Ron, and Hermione knew that they were not alone in their quest. Together, they would journey into the heart of magic itself, seeking answers and uncovering secrets that had long been hidden from the world. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the rainforest, the group gathered around a flickering campfire, their faces illuminated by its warm glow. And as they shared stories and laughter, their bonds of friendship and alliance grew stronger, forging a connection that would carry them through the trials and tribulations that lay ahead. For in the world of magic, where the line between reality and legend blurred, anything was possible. And they embarked on their quest, Harry, Ron, Hermione, Arren Sawyer, Dillon E.T, and Seraphina. Dillon E.T. stepped forward, his presence commanding the attention of everyone gathered around the campfire. With a solemn expression, he began to explain the intricacies of using the Synchronic Wands for combat and timing. The Synchronic Wands are not merely tools for casting spells, Dillon began, his voice carrying the weight of authority. They are instruments of precision, designed to enhance our martial prowess through the art of timing. He gestured towards the 3DGR sides of the blade forge, each representing a specific binding point within timing and play. Each combinatorial corresponds to a particular movement and spell, he explained. By mastering the timing of these actions, we can achieve a level of combat proficiency that transcends ordinary magic. Dillon demonstrated his movements fluidly and precisely as he activated a combinatorial sequence on his blade forge. With each click of his thumbs, the blade forge responded with a burst of magical energy, the air crackling with the power of their synchronized action of the blade forge and Dillon E.T.'s footwork. As we engage in combat, we must listen to the rhythm of the battle, Dillon continued, his voice steady. Each click of the wands represents a beat in the dance of combat, guiding our actions with unparalleled precision. He paused, allowing his words to sink in before continuing. But timing alone is not enough, he cautioned. We must also be mindful of our state of sword play, adapting our movements to suit the flow of battle. Dillon explained how the combinatorial could be combined in different sequences to execute a variety of techniques, from offensive strikes to defensive maneuvers. With each demonstration, his blade forge's magic came to life, painting a vivid picture of the Synchronic Wands' capabilities in combat. As we hone our skills with the 3DGR, we unlock new possibilities in the art of timing and state of wand play, Dillon concluded, his eyes alight with determination. Together, we will master the rhythm of battle and emerge victorious against whatever challenges may come our way. As the group absorbed Dillon's teachings, a sense of purpose filled the air, their hearts aflame with the desire to rise to the challenge before them. With the knowledge of the Synchronic Wands at their disposal, they knew that they were ready to face whatever trials lay ahead, united in their quest for truth and justice in the world of magic. The two trios, Harry Potter, Ronald Weasley, Hermione Granger, Arren Sawyer, Dillon E.T., and Seraphina, sat around the campfire, their faces drawn in contemplation as they discussed the potential villains that could be arriving through the portals. Harry furrowed his brow, his mind racing with possibilities. It's possible that whoever or whatever is behind these disturbances is seeking to exploit the power of the magical runic sites for their own nefarious purposes, he mused, his voice grave. Ron nodded in agreement, his expression grim. But who could be behind it? And why? He wondered aloud, his gaze fixed on the flickering flames. Hermione, ever the voice of reason, spoke up. There are countless dark forces in the wizarding world that would stop at nothing to gain power and control, she pointed out, her tone somber. We must be prepared for anything. Arren Sawyer, his eyes scanning the shadows beyond the campfire's glow, spoke next. It's possible that whoever is behind this has knowledge of the ancient magic that binds the runic sites together, he suggested, his voice tinged with concern. And if they are able to harness that power, they could pose a serious threat to our world. Dillon E.T. nodded in agreement, his expression grave. We must remain vigilant, he warned, his eyes flashing with determination. For the forces we may soon face could be unlike anything we've encountered before. Seraphina, her hands tracing intricate patterns in the air as she spoke, added her own insight. We must also consider the possibility that the disturbance in the portals is not merely a coincidence," she said, her voice tinged with uncertainty. "There may be someone, or something, guiding these events from behind the scenes." As the group contemplated the potential villains that could be lurking on the other side of the portals, a sense of unease settled over them. But with their determination and unity as their greatest weapons, they knew that they would face whatever challenges came their way, ready to defend the wizarding world against the forces of darkness that threatened to tear it apart. As the fire crackled and danced before them, Seraphina's eyes gleamed with an otherworldly light, her voice taking on a mesmerizing tone as she began to speak. "Ah, yes, dear companions," she began, her words weaving a tapestry of ancient knowledge. "Throughout the annals of human history, there have been those who dared to harness the power of runes to wield magic beyond imagination." Her voice resonated with a mystical energy as she recounted tales of legendary figures who had walked the earth, their names whispered in reverence by those who sought to unlock the secrets of the universe. "Behold the seers of old," she exclaimed, her arms sweeping wide as if to encompass the vast expanse of time itself. "From the Oracle of Delphi, who communed with the gods through the sacred runes etched upon her temple walls, to the Norse shamans who carved their spells into the very fabric of reality, their ancient wisdom echoes through the ages." With each word, Seraphina's presence seemed to grow more ethereal, her form shimmering with the faintest hint of magic as she delved deeper into the mysteries of the past. "And let us not forget the wise women of the Celtic Druidic traditions," she continued, her voice tinged with reverence. "They who inscribed their spells upon stones and trees, channeling the very essence of nature itself to work their wonders." As she spoke, images of these ancient practitioners flickered in the firelight, their faces illuminated by the glow of Seraphina's words as she painted a vivid picture of their mastery over the arcane. "But perhaps most legendary of all," she intoned, her voice soft yet commanding, "are the rune masters of ancient Scandinavia, who carved their magic into the very fabric of existence, shaping the world itself with their words and symbols." With a flourish, Seraphina concluded her recitation, her eyes alight with the fire of ancient knowledge. "These, my friends, are but a few of the luminaries who have wielded the power of runes to bend reality to their will," she declared, her voice ringing with authority. "And their legacy lives on in the magic that courses through our veins, waiting to be awakened by those who dare to seek its secrets." Chapter 11, The Oracle's Revelation. With a collective sense of determination, the group of wizards and witches stood at the edge of the magical runic site, their wands held aloft as they prepared to teleport to their next destination, the ancient ruins of Delphi in Greece. As the familiar sensation of magical transportation washed over them, they felt the world shift and blur around them, until finally, they emerged amidst the crumbling columns and weathered statues that marked the sacred grounds of the Oracle. The air hummed with a palpable energy, as if the very stones themselves were infused with the wisdom of centuries past. Hermione's eyes sparkled with excitement as she surveyed their surroundings, her mind already racing with the possibilities that lay ahead. Arren Sawyer, his gaze focused and intense, led the way through the maze of ancient ruins, his synchronic wands crackling with untold power as he sought out the guidance of the Oracle. Dillon E.T, his blade forge at the ready, scanned the horizon for any signs of danger, his senses keenly attuned to the slightest hint of malevolent magic. And Seraphina, her presence calming amidst the chaos, closed her eyes and reached out with her senses, seeking the subtle whispers of the universe that might reveal the secrets they sought. As they ventured deeper into the heart of the ruins, the air grew thick with anticipation, until finally, they reached the sacred chamber of the oracle, a place where the veil between worlds was said to be thinnest, and the wisdom of the ages flowed like a river. With bated breath, they approached the ancient stone altar that stood at the center of the chamber, its surface inscribed with runes and symbols of power. Hermione's fingers traced the intricate carvings, her mind buzzing with excitement as she sought to unlock the secrets they held. Arren Sawyer, his voice steady yet tinged with reverence, spoke the words of invocation that would call forth the oracle from the depths of the beyond. And then, with a rush of wind and the shimmering of light, the oracle appeared, a figure cloaked in mystery and shadow, her eyes alight with the wisdom of the ages. "Speak, O oracle," Arren Sawyer intoned, his voice echoing through the chamber. "We seek your guidance in these troubled times, for we face an unknown threat zero." The oracle regarded them with a gaze that seemed to pierce through the very depths of their souls, her voice echoing with the weight of centuries as she spoke. "The threads of fate weave a tangled web, my children," she intoned, her words carrying the weight of prophecy. "Beware the darkness that seeks to engulf you, for it is a force born of chaos and despair." As she spoke, images flickered in the air before them, visions of a shadowy figure cloaked in darkness, its eyes gleaming with malevolence as it sought to sow discord and destruction in its wake. "The adversary you seek is cunning and powerful," the oracle continued, her voice somber yet resolute. "But fear not, for the light of truth shall guide your path, and the bonds of friendship shall be your greatest strength." With a final word of warning, the oracle vanished into the ether, leaving the group to ponder the weight of her words as they prepared to face the challenges that lay ahead. And as they emerged from the sacred chamber, their resolve stronger than ever, they knew that their quest was far from over. For in the heart of darkness, amidst the echoes of prophecy and the whispers of fate, the true test of their courage had only just begun. Chapter 12. The Celtic Circle. The group of 6 wizards and witches stood on the rugged cliffs of Ireland, the wind whipping through their hair as they surveyed the ancient landscape spread out before them. In the distance, the rolling hills were dotted with the remnants of Celtic ruins, their stones weathered by centuries of time yet still pulsing with the magic of old. Arren Sawyer, his synchronic wands crackling with energy, led the way, his keen eyes scanning the horizon for any signs of the elusive Celtic druid circle. Seraphina followed close behind, her cloak billowing in the wind as she prepared her potions and enchanted tricks for whatever challenges lay ahead. Dillon E.T, clad in his enchanted armor and wielding the blade forged with deadly precision, scanned the landscape for any signs of danger, his senses sharp and attuned to the slightest hint of malevolent magic. And Harry, Ron, and Hermione, their wands at the ready, stood shoulder to shoulder, their determination unwavering as they prepared to confront whatever awaited them in the depths of the Celtic wilderness. As they ventured deeper into the heart of the ancient landscape, the air grew thick with the hum of magic, until finally, they stumbled upon the entrance to the Celtic Druid Circle, a ring of weathered stones, their surfaces carved with intricate runes and symbols of power. With a shared nod of determination, they stepped into the circle, their footsteps echoing against the ancient stones as they prepared to unlock the secrets that lay within. But as they delved deeper into the heart of the circle, they soon realized that they were not alone. Dark figures lurked in the shadows, their eyes gleaming with malice as they prepared to unleash their own brand of chaos upon the world. With a shout of warning, Dillon E.T sprang into action, his blade forge flashing in the dim light as he engaged the enemy with deadly precision. Arren Sawyer, his synchronic wands blazing with power, unleashed a barrage of spells to hold back the advancing tide, while Seraphina, her position at the ready, wove her magic to weaken their foes from within. Harry, Ron, and Hermione, their wands alight with the sparks of magic, fought side by side, their spells and incantations echoing through the air as they sought to protect their friends and vanquish the forces of darkness that threatened to engulf them. As the battle raged on, the air crackled with the clash of steel and the roar of spells, until finally, with a final burst of magical energy, the dark figures were vanquished, their malevolent presence banished from the Celtic Circle once and for all. With the threat neutralized, the group paused to catch their breath, their hearts pounding with the adrenaline of battle yet their spirits soaring with the knowledge that they had triumphed against all odds. But as they turned to leave, their minds already racing with thoughts of the next challenge that lay ahead, they knew that their quest was far from over. For in the heart of the Celtic wilderness, amidst the echoes of ancient magic and the whispers of the past, the true test of their courage had only just begun. As the Celtic Circle continued to open, the air crackled with a palpable sense of danger, the portal humming with an otherworldly energy that sent shivers down their spines. The 6 individuals, standing in the center of the circle, exchanged wary glances as they braced themselves for whatever might emerge from the depths of the portal. Suddenly, with a roar that echoed through the ancient stones, a demon stepped out of the portal, its form grotesquely aesthetic, radiating a powerful malevolent aura that filled the air with dread. The demon's name was lost to the ages, but its presence was unmistakable, a harbinger of chaos and destruction. With a flick of its staff, the demon unleashed a barrage of flames, fireballs hurtling towards the squad with deadly accuracy. Harry, Ron, Hermione, Arren Sawyer, Dillon E.T, and Seraphina scattered, countering the flames with each their own weapons. The flames wreathed around the squad, though with lightning-fast reflexes they sought cover amidst the crumbling ruins of the Celtic Circle. But just as it seemed that all hope was lost, a burst of golden flame erupted from the sky, heralding the arrival of Fawkes, the Phoenix. With a majestic cry, Fawkes swooped down from above, his feathers glowing with the radiant light of his healing tears. As the fire enveloped the squad, Fawkes intercepted them with a graceful sweep of his wings, his tears quenching the flames with ease before they could reach their intended targets. With each fiery blast, Fawkes's strength seemed to grow, his majestic form ablaze with the power of ancient magic as he shielded the squad from harm. Meanwhile, on the other side of the portal, the squad glimpsed a horde of minor demons clamoring to break through, their twisted forms clawing at the edges of the rift as they sought to join their malevolent master in wreaking havoc upon the world. With no time to waste, Harry and his companions knew that they had to escape. With a shared nod of understanding, they regrouped, their resolve unwavering as they prepared to make their retreat. As the demon's onslaught continued unabated, Harry summoned all his strength, focusing his magic with unwavering determination as he prepared to lead his friends to safety. With a final glance at Fawkes, whose golden wings blazed with the light of hope, Harry took a deep breath and, with a flick of his wand, apparated away from the chaos, his friends following close behind. As they vanished into the safety of the unknown, the portal continued to pulse with malevolent energy, its depths shrouded in mystery and danger. But for now, Harry and his companions were safe, their courage and resilience shining bright amidst the darkness that threatened to engulf them. Chapter 13. Return to the Ministry. The grand halls of the Ministry of Magic buzzed with activity as Harry Potter and his companions made their way through the bustling corridors, their hearts heavy with the weight of their recent trials. Kingsley Shacklebolt, the Minister of Magic, awaited them in his office, his expression grave as he listened to their tale. "Minister Shacklebolt," Harry began, his voice steady despite the lingering echoes of their encounter with the malevolent demon. "We have returned from our mission to investigate the disturbances in the magical runic sites." Kingsley's gaze was intent as he leaned forward in his chair, his eyes flicking from Harry to each member of the squad in turn. "What did you discover?" he asked, his tone betraying none of the curiosity that burned within him. Ron Weasley cleared his throat, stepping forward to recount their harrowing journey. "We encountered powerful magic, Minister," he said, his voice tinged with awe and respect. "The runic sites were connected by portals, and we found evidence of dark forces at work." Hermione Granger nodded in agreement, her expression somber as she added, "There were signs of ancient rituals and powerful enchantments being woven together to create the portals. It was clear that someone, or something, was behind it all." Kingsley's brow furrowed in concern as he absorbed their words, his mind racing with the implications of their findings. "And the demon you encountered?" he asked, his voice low and measured. Dillon E.T. stepped forward, his enchanted armor gleaming in the soft light of the office. "It was a formidable foe, Minister," he said, his voice resonating with the authority of one who had faced the darkness and emerged victorious. "But with Fox's help, we were able to hold it off long enough to make our escape." Arren Sawyer, his synchronic wands at the ready, nodded in agreement. "Indeed," he said, his eyes burning with the fire of determination. "But the threat remains. We must act swiftly if we are to prevent further incursions into our world." Kingsley's gaze softened as he regarded the members of the squad before him, his admiration for their bravery and resilience evident in his expression. "Thank you, all of you, for your courage and dedication," he said, his voice filled with gratitude. "We will do everything in our power to stop this threat and protect our world from the forces of darkness." As the squad exchanged a silent nod of determination, they knew that their journey was far from over. But with their bonds of friendship and their unwavering resolve, they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, united in their quest to safeguard the wizarding world from the shadows that threatened to engulf it. Chapter 14, The Gathering Storm. Kingsley Shacklebolt's office was a sanctuary of order amidst the chaos that swirled outside its walls. As the Minister of Magic sat behind his desk, his gaze moved thoughtfully over the assembled members of the squad before him: Hermione Granger, Dillon E.T., Ron Weasley, Harry Potter, Seraphina, and Arren Sawyer. "I commend you all for your bravery and dedication," Kingsley began, his voice resonating with authority. "But the threat we face is grave, and we must be prepared to meet it head-on." With a wave of his wand, Kingsley summoned a scroll from a nearby shelf, unfurling it to reveal a list of names, potential allies in the war against the darkness that loomed on the horizon. "These individuals have proven themselves in the crucible of battle," Kingsley said, his voice steady as he gestured to the names before him. "They are skilled warriors, each possessing unique talents that could prove invaluable to our cause." As the squad studied the list, their minds racing with the possibilities that lay ahead, Kingsley turned his attention to another matter at hand: the creation of synchronic wands to aid them in their quest. "I have authorized access to the Ministry's armory," Kingsley announced, his eyes alight with determination. There, you will find the materials and expertise needed to craft synchronic wands for each member of the squad. Hermione's eyes sparkled with excitement at the prospect of delving into the mysteries of wandcraft, while Ron grinned eagerly at the thought of wielding a weapon infused with ancient magic. Harry's jaw set in determination as he prepared himself for the challenges that lay ahead, his thoughts already turning to the battles to come. With Kingsley's guidance, the squad made their way to the Ministry's armory, where they were greeted by a team of skilled craftsmen ready to assist them in their task. Together, they pored over ancient tomes and intricate diagrams, their minds buzzing with the possibilities that lay before them. Hours turned into days as the squad worked tirelessly to craft their synchronic wands, infusing each one with the essence of their own unique magic. Seraphina's potions lent their strength to the enchantments, while Arren Sawyer's mastery of combat magic imbued the wands with a sense of power and purpose. At last, the wands were complete, their gleaming surfaces pulsing with a vibrant energy that seemed to hum with potential. As the squad gathered around the table, their newly forged wands held aloft, they felt a sense of unity and purpose that transcended words. "We stand together against the darkness," Kingsley declared, his voice ringing out with conviction. "And with these wands as our weapons, we shall not falter in our quest to safeguard the wizarding world." With a renewed sense of determination burning in their hearts, the squad prepared to face whatever challenges lay ahead, knowing that together, they would emerge victorious in the war against the forces of darkness.